Welcome to Sim Code. Hey friends. Welcome back to the channel. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more. A lambda expression in Python is a concise way to define anonymous functions, in other words, functions that are not bound to a name. It uses the lambda keyword followed by parameters, a colon, and an expression that the function evaluates and returns. Lambda expressions are often used in situations where a small, one-time function is needed, and they are typically used with functions like map, filter, or sorted. For example, defines a function that doubles its input, and it can be passed directly to a higher-order function without needing to define a separate, named function. Although lambda expressions are more compact, they are limited to a single expression, meaning they cannot contain statements or multiple expressions like regular functions. This example demonstrates the use of a lambda function to double values in Python. Define a lambda expression. Lambda expressions are anonymous, unnamed functions, and they are useful for simple operations that do not require a formal function definition. The lambda keyword defines the function, followed by parameters, in this case, x, a colon, and the expression that will be evaluated and returned. This lambda function takes one input parameter x, multiplies it by 2, and returns the result of the multiplication. The lambda function is assigned to the variable double. Here, double will behave like a normal function, but it is defined without a name, anonymous function. The double variable now stores a reference to this function, and we can call it later with an argument. The variable double is a lambda function. It takes an integer x and returns x asterisk 2. Type of double function. This is a callable object that behaves like a function. Now, we will test the lambda function by passing different values into it and checking the results. Call the lambda function with the argument 5. When we call double 5, we are passing 5 as the value for x. The lambda function evaluates the expression x asterisk 2, where x equals 5, so it returns 5 times 2 is equal to 10. The result is stored in the variable result1. The type of result1 is an integer, int, since the result of the multiplication is 10. Type of result1, int. The result of calling double 5 is an integer. Call the lambda function again, but this time with the argument 10. The lambda function takes x equals 10, and it returns the result of the multiplication 10 asterisk 2, which is 20. The result is stored in the variable result2. Result2 is also an integer, int, since the multiplication result is 20. Type of result 2, int. The result of calling double, 10, is an integer. Now we will print the results of the lambda function. Print is a built-in function in Python that outputs its arguments to the console. Here, we use print to display the values of result 1 and result 2, which are the results of calling the lambda function with arguments 5 and 10, respectively. The first call to print will output result for 510, and the second will output result for 1020. Real-world scenario. We have a list of numbers, and we want to double each number. Instead of manually writing a loop to apply the multiplication to each number, we will use the map function. Map is a Python built-in function that applies a given function, in this case, the lambda expression, to each element in an iterable, like a list. Define a list of numbers. Numbers is a list that contains 5 integers, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. We want to apply the lambda function to each number in this list to double them. Numbers is a list of integers. Type of numbers, list. Map is a built-in function in Python that takes 2 arguments. A function, which will be applied to each element in the iterable. An iterable, such as a list, tuple, or string, whose elements will be processed by the function. In this case, we pass the lambda function. Which will double each number in the list numbers. The second argument is the numbers list, which is an iterable. The result of map is not a list but a map object, which is an iterator. We need to convert it to a list to view the results. Doubled underscore numbers is a map object. Type of doubled underscore numbers. Map this is an iterator, which will generate the doubled numbers when accessed. Since map returns an iterator, we need to convert it to a list in order to display the results in a readable form. We use the list function to convert the map object to a list. The list function takes an iterable, in this case, the map object, and converts it into a list, so we can see all the results at once. The result is stored in the variable doubled underscore numbers underscore list. Doubled underscore numbers underscore list is a list of integers. Type of doubled underscore numbers underscore list, list. Now we will print the final result. The doubled numbers list contains the values of the original numbers list, each doubled. The expected output is 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, because we applied the lambda function. To each number in the numbers list. The print function will output doubled numbers 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 to the console. Now run our code. For more